Hello and welcome to today's video. Today we will be working through some examples using the angle addition postulate. So let's just remind everybody what that is. The angle addition postulate says that if we have two angles side by side, so let's make the blue angle and call that B for blue. And then we have a red angle right next to it. Call that R for red. Then the angle that they make together, so the resulting angle, that'll be the green angle, okay, goes around the edge. The measure of the green angle will be the sum of the measure of the blue angle plus the measure of the red angle. So we can write that as the measure of the blue angle plus the measure of the red angle, which we're calling R, equals the measure of the green angle. So the two smaller angles add up to give you the measure of the larger one. Okay, so let's do some problems. So the first one says we need to find the measure of angle KLM. KLM is the big angle around the edge, and they tell us that the measure of KLB, so the small one, is 26 degrees, and we should always just write the information so that just helps us figure out what we've got to do. And the measure of BLM is 60. Remember, with angles, the middle letter is the vertex with angles. So we have to find the measure of KLM. So the measure of angle KLM is going to be the sum of the two smaller angles. So 60 plus 26. So our answer will be 86 degrees. Okay, another one, number 3. We're going to do odd numbers. Again, let's label the information they give us in the question first. The measure of GHC is 60. GHC is 60 degrees. The measure of CHI is 104 degrees. And we have to find the measure of GHI, that's the big one. So we know that the resulting big angle is just the sum of the two smaller ones. So the measure of angle GHI will be 104 plus 60 degrees, which gives us 164 degrees. Okay, with number 5, pause your video and see if you can figure out which numbers go where, and if you can find the answer. What is the measure of angle LMN? And when you're ready, press play again. So, angle FMN is 99 degrees. And measure of angle LMF, the small one, is 36 degrees. So we have to find the measure of angle LMN, that's the really big one, and we know that the measure of the bigger one is just the sum of the two small ones. So the measure of angle LMN equals 99 degrees plus 36, which is 135 degrees. Okay, with number 7, again, pause your video, see if you can work out which numbers go where, and find out what the answer is. Okay, number 7, measure JKL. So we have to find the measure of the big one. If the measure of SKL is 31, SKL, so that's the small one, it's 31. And the measure of JKS is 52. Well, we know that the measure of the larger one, angle JKL, is going to be the sum of the smaller ones. So that's going to be 31 degrees plus 52 degrees, and that gives us 83 degrees. Okay, if you worked it out by yourself, hopefully you got the same answer. Right, number 9. Okay, we have to find the measure of angle KLU. KLU is one of the smaller angles now. We don't know what this is. So when we don't know what something is in math, we will often just call it x. Measure of ULM, so that's this small one, is 20 degrees. And the measure of the whole thing, this big angle, is 110 degrees. So we know that the measure of the two smaller ones give us the measure of the larger one. So let's write an equation. So we have 20 plus x has to add up to 110. So to find out what our missing angle is, we can subtract 20 from both sides. So 20 minus 20 is just 0. Bring the x down. 110 minus 20 is 90. So x equals 90 degrees, which means that the one that we're missing, the measure of angle KLU, I'm missing a letter. You just erase that and mess that one up. The measure of angle KLU equals 90. Goodness, I am messing up here. Let's just write that again a little bit more clearly. Okay, third time lucky. The measure of angle KLU equals 90 degrees. Yay, got it this time. All right, so that was a little bit more complicated. Okay, number 11. Let's see what we have to do here. So first step, always label what we know. So the measure of angle HGF. HGF, so that's the whole one, the big one. So I'm just going to put a little, I'm going to write it out here, is 16x plus 4. The measure of EGF, so that's the larger of the two inner angles, that is 110 degrees. And the measure of HGE, so the smaller of the two, is 3x plus 11. Wow, that looks really different, doesn't it? But we can still use the angle addition postulate because we know that the two smaller angles add up to give us the bigger angle. I'm going to go off to the left here as there's a little bit more room and my pen is quite thick with writing, so I need a bit more space. So we know that the sum of the two smaller angles, so let's just write an equation. We know that 110 degrees plus the other angle, which is 3x plus 11, has to equal the larger angle, the measure of the larger angle, which is 16x plus 4. And now we have an equation that we should be able to solve for x. So let's go ahead and tidy up this side a little bit. We have 110 plus 11, so that gives us 121 plus 3x equals 60x plus 4. Looks pretty good. What should we do next? Let's subtract 3x from both sides. Draw a line under there. So this one cancels, a positive 3x and a negative 3x. So we're just left with 121 on the left-hand side, and 16x minus 3x is 13x plus 4. And subtract 4 from both sides. That gives us 121 minus 4 is 117. These cancel, plus 4 minus 4 just gives us 0, 13x, so we're almost there. So to get x all by itself, we're going to just go ahead and divide by 13. Excuse me. So 117 divided by 13 is 9. So 9 equals x. So let's go ahead and write our answer with the question, x equals 9. The variable should usually be on the left-hand side. All right, so there's quite a bit of work to that one. All right, let's try number 13. I'm going to do a different color so it's a little bit easier to see. Okay, first thing, label all the parts. So measure of angle FCD, so that's the small one, x plus 41. The measure of BCF, so that's the other angle inside, x plus 78. And we need to find, oh no, we're told the measure of BCD, so the whole thing adds up to 95 degrees. So, and we have to find x again. So let's set up our equation. So our equation says, the angle addition postulate says, if we add up the two inside angles, we should get the measure of the outside angle. So let's go ahead and say, so we have x plus 78 plus, that's the first one, x plus 41 has to equal 95. And now we have an equation that we can solve. So x plus x, that means I have two x's. 78 plus 41 is 119 equals 95. Okay, almost there. Subtract 119 from both sides. We're out of space again. These two cancel. So we're left with 2x equals negative 24. So we can now go ahead and divide both sides by 2. And the 2's cancel. So we have x equals negative 24 divided by 2. 24 divided by 2 is 12. We have a negative divided by a positive. So x equals negative 12. All right. Right, number 15 is very similar. So I think you can have a go with that one. Label it and see if you can set up the equation. The two smaller angles add up to be the same as the measure of the big one, and then solve for x. So let's take a look at number 17. Let's go for the different color too, green. Okay, so what does number 17 say? We have to find the measure of h. Let me just erase that. So I managed to scribble on there. We have to find the measure of angle HIW. HIW, so this one. Okay. If the measure of WIJ, so this one here, is 10x, and HIJ, so that's the really big one, that's the big one in the middle, that's the sum of both of them, and that one is 145 degrees. And the measure of HIW, so this one we're trying to find, is 2x plus 13. So the first step is just to fill in the pieces of information that they give us. So we actually have to find the measure of HIW. So we need to solve for x, so we can then substitute what we get back into there to get the measure of the angle. So let's set up our equation to find out what x is. Okay, so the sum of the two inside angles add up to the outside one. Let's go over to the left here. So we have 10x plus 2x plus 13 equals 145. These are the two smaller angles, add up to the measure of the larger one. So let's tidy this up. 10x plus 2x is 12x plus 13 equals 145. Okay, let's subtract 13 from both sides. This cancels, so we're just left with 12x on the left, and 145 minus 13 is 132. So now we've got 12x equals 132, so let's divide both sides by 12. The 12's cancel, so x equals 132 divided by 12 is 11. So this is useful. So the measure of our angle, we're looking for the measure of angle HIW. So the measure of angle HIW is 2x plus 13. Now we already know that x is 11, so let's just go ahead and write that 11 instead of x because we've already solved for x. So that's 22 plus 13, and that gives us 35 degrees. Goodness, running out of space. Okay. And you might like to try number 19 the same way. So go ahead and stop the video if you want to try by yourself, and I will go ahead and work it so that you have an answer. All right, let's change colors again so it doesn't get too confusing. All right, let's see what we have. We have the measure of angle ZHG. ZHG, so this is larger one here, and this one is 11x minus 1. Okay, the measure of IHZ, so that's the small one here. This is 24 degrees. And the measure of IHG is the large one, so that's the outer one, the resulting angle here. is 12x plus 13. And we have to find the measure of IHG, angle IHG. So IHG, oh, so this is the big one. So we're still going to have to solve for x first because we don't know what x is. Once we have x, we'll be able to do the measure of the angle. Okay, so let's set up our equation. The two inner angles add up to the resulting outside angle. So we have 11x minus 1 plus 24 equals 12x plus 13. So let's tidy this up. 11x negative 1 plus 24, or 24 minus 1, 23, equals 12x plus 13. Right, what shall we do next? You can choose. I am going to go ahead and subtract 13 from both sides because 13 plus 13 minus 13 becomes 0. So we have 11x plus 23 minus 13. 23 minus 13 is just 10. Equals 12x. And then let's subtract 11x from both sides. And that gives us 10 equals 12x minus 11x is just 1x, so x. So let me just go over here. So x equals 10. But we actually have to find the measure of, okay, so the measure of angle IHG equals, the measure of angle IHG, it said in the question, 12x plus 13. We know that x is 10, so we can go ahead and substitute 10 in here for x. So 12 times 10 is 120 plus 13, which gives us 133 degrees. And there's your answer. Hopefully, if you were trying it by yourself, that's what you got. Okay, and that is it for the angle addition postulate for now. So have fun practicing.